the rescue services in our country. So I will give you an overview to the arrangements in a country with a population. This is a good background to know that we are only 5.5 million people, but our region area is more or less the same as of Germany or Italy. So 337,100,000 square kilometers. And I'm also telling about the structure that is based on municipalities, not on state-run organization. Of course, the ministry gives the legislation and so on, but the rescue services as such, they are based on municipal arrangements. And our three main responsibilities are the accident prevention, rescue operations themselves, and then preparedness and civil protection. And with this system, the rescue services is ready to deal with all types of incidents. So we don't have any special organization for civil defense, or everything is based on this one arrangement. And from everyday accidents or occasions to major and long-lasting or longer-lasting exceptional situations or accidents, let's say forest fires that might take for weeks. So that is what we are prepared for. And our rescue services is, like I said, based on municipal responsibilities for time being. Now I talk about arrangement and legislation that is valid till the end of next year. And then we will have a huge, the biggest, change in our administrative structure. So the counties that we have today, they will turn more or less independent or autonomic. And so the social and welfare service is in the head of this renovation of the structures, and also the rescue services follow there. But now I talk about the system, what we have today. And on the right, you see the map of Finland and some thick borders, and they show these 22 different counties or regions. And within them, you see thinner lines, which are the borders of independent municipalities. In Finland, the municipalities are independent, and they are also running their economy mostly themselves, so they are collecting taxes. And the rescue services today are run by the capital of that county or region. So all the workers are employees of the central municipality. And this system we have had at less than 20 years. And in the region, we do a lot of cooperation with not just in national level, but in the regional level. And like I said, Finland is a sparsely populated country. It's a huge one, so we need to do cooperation. And in order to be able to do all the tasks that we are expected to do. And the cooperation also goes between different forms of fire brigades. So we have these professional fire brigades, then we have contracted brigades, volunteers, and then we do have also some institutional and industrial or military fire brigades. And altogether some 800 are them, and 22 regions. Then some basic principles. I was struggling with the term crisis management since we don't use it as such. But okay, it's here because it was asked. Maybe it makes somehow a little bit clearer this. If I talk about crisis management, even though it is rescue services, and as a small country, we have a very low hierarchies, or how do you say hierarchies. And for us, it is a very typical to act in a pragmatic way and proceed quite straightforward. And this idea runs through different arrangements in our country, including the rescue services. And practice, this is what we call the comprehensive approach. It is integration of preparations for peacetime and war-related emergencies. And this means that all actors are responsible for carrying out their own functions in all security situations, just like they do in their normal everyday work or everyday life. And the comprehensive approach includes close and pragmatic public-private cooperation, in which also the military authorities are included. Cooperation begins from the planning phase, so right from the beginning, and it continues into operative cooperation. And quite obvious is that we are using the modern technology and also try to, I think that is also one benefit of the network, that we work with companies and we have very good connections with them, so that our needs and expectations we can tell them, or when talking about the projects, it's important that we give our representative or partner, somebody to participate in projects, that we can give the point of view from the central government or the governmental institutions. So that is again this comprehensive approach, and that comes also to technology, how to develop, what are the needs, because they are changing all the time, so that we would be answering the needs today, but also especially preparing for needs tomorrow. So the cooperation there is essential. And then, of course, we are well connected with international civil protection assistance systems, and we participated through the European Union civil protection mechanism and through EU structure, UN structures. And now we come to the arrangements and bases that guide the preparedness planning. And here the rescue services level agreement is the basis. Rescue services must be planned and implemented so that prevention of accidents is organized, and the measures required in the event of an accident or impending danger are carried out without delay and effectively. So these are the basic lines, and the risk assessment and risk services level are the tools to answer these demands. And how we do this? The whole territory of Finland is divided into risk classes. There are 4 risk levels, which are determined by the regression model. And the model is based on inhabitants and building area, and then critical infrastructure has also been taken in consideration, like harbor, railways and highways and so on. And then also the statistic of real house fires have been taken in consideration, and each of these squares is 1 by 1 kilometer, so 1 square kilometer wide. And according to these factors mentioned before, the more you have these factors within one square, the higher the risk level is. And on the map you see from central Finland, there's a city called Jyväskylä, and this is how they have made this risk assessment based on the data they have. And according to the law, within these red region, red squares, the assistance or the fire services, rescue services have to be at the place within 6 minutes. And so between 20 minutes. And so the, let's say, outskirts of the city, the response times is a little bit longer, and sparsely populated area even longer. And then we have a lot of most of the country is probably with this risk class number 4, where is no response time defined. And this map serves also for planning services of intentions. For example, where to put a new fire station, and maybe the map changes. There will be new parts of town built, and so on. New roads might be built. So the map changes a little bit, but it gives the basis for replying this request of the law, how quick the citizens, according to the law, can expect help. And then, so that was on the local level. And now on the national level, we have so-called national risk assessment. The first one was published in 2015, so 6 years ago, by our ministry, and it was updated 3 years after that. And now it's under work again, and a new updated risk assessment should be in, was it by summer next year. So within 1 year there will be a new one, because the the situation changes, and we have to be ready for not just for today's challenges, but also be prepared for the near future. And the risk assessment consists of 20 probable scenarios that we have imagined that would need like a nationwide way of acting in a similar way around the country. And then the scenarios and how to respond them. At the same time, we did sub-national risk assessments, which were for these 22 different regions, because the regions are different, the population density or the number of population is different, and there are more rural counties, and then like here in south and on the south and west coast we have a higher population density, and due to that we need to have different kind of preparedness than in North Finland. And these risk assessments, like I mentioned before about this cooperation, it's done with the municipalities and all the local and regional authorities, and we also include the third sector there, business. And of third sector, I could say as an example, the Finnish Red Cross. They are almost everywhere in all our planning structures, whatever we do, and also the National Rescue Association, SPEC, is very often. They both work as experts in our working groups. And down you can see the link to the risk assessment that is valid right now. And this is how it looks like. I don't go into details because this is not my, I'm not on a thick ice. So I might fall into the cold water like we talked before. So I don't go into these details, but that is like squeezed everything into one schema. What are the possible disorders or disruptions and scenarios, and what kind of character they have, and what kind of influence they've got into our functions, vital functions, and effect on citizens. And then to get an overview of the rescue services is, of course, there are some numbers, and like I said, we had these 22 regions and some 800 fire stations. There you see the number of vehicles. And then the personnel, this includes the professional firefighters, contracted, which means that they are, the other word for them could be part-timers. So they have their profession or their work elsewhere, but according to their personal agreement with the central city of the county, they participate when they are asked. They come. They are part of the team or the platoon to respond. And then we have the volunteers. So some 22,000 altogether. And how much that all costs nationwide, that is like some 500 million euro. And like I said, this money mostly comes from the local municipalities. So we have three different kind of taxes. There's this municipal tax that varies from municipalities to municipality. Then we have state taxes and the church taxes, plus some other taxes, but these are the main taxes. And per person, this means depending on the region, it is yearly from 60 to a little bit over 100 euro per person. And then you have the number of tasks every year that rescue services respond in a way or another. This is now an old number or old slide with or old information, but this shows what rescue services respond to. And more or less, like you see, the numbers are more or less the same from year to year, or the relation between them, different tasks is more or less the same, but the numbers increase. I don't have the latest numbers, how Corona affected, for example, year 20, how these numbers would be. Network and so on, we were in the top of Europe there, but I dare to say that many countries have passed us in this. But anyway, this system serves us, and we are very familiar already more than 20 years with the 112 number, which is the single and common integrated system called ERICA. The system, 112 system, we have divided the country into 6 response regions. Here you see them geographically, and you see also a picture from the responders room. So they are not just call takers and then switching the income call to somebody, but they handle themselves. And in this room, they sit people from the rescue services and police and social and welfare, at least them. And the small picture is just a schema of the layout of these 6 centers. They all were built by the same, with this more or less the same model for same purposes, and serving all authorities. we use the Tetra network, and this Virve, it's also a female name like Erika Virve, but it's an abbreviation from Viranomais puhelinverkko, so Virve is the name. And here, that is the authorities network system, and here you see the percentages who uses the network. So rescue services, police, border guard, military, and then companies like energy and telecom and so on. Companies are using them.
May I ask you just a question, that if you say that it's one network, does it mean that they are somehow interconnected, all these end users of Tetra?
Yes.
Through
Yes.
that centers.
Yes, centers, and then the Tetra itself is when in operation, you can build up a speakers group, so that they are closed groups. Nobody else hears you except the people who are chosen in the group, and the different authorities. It depends a little bit on the situation itself, but rescue workers can't listen to police. So everybody working with the car wreck, for example, and there's an accident. You need the medical, the first responders. There's a police, and then the commander chains. They don't hear each other. So that is a very safe system, and it's. If I remember correct, it's on the top they can hear and speak. Of course, they need to speak with each other, but then the lines in each responsibility, police or border guard or rescue service, they go according to their own line. But on the top, of course, they need to be able to listen already in order to get the situational picture, what is going on. And this is more or less subscribers are the authorities. Like I said, there are the rescue workers or rescue services, police, border guard, and also the NGOs, like the Finnish Red Cross. They do also have these terminals in their use. But they are very restricted in the communication. So they very often are under the police, because they support police in searching operations very often. That is the most of the cases. And the centers are interoperable. If some is fallen out for reason or whatever, another switch or center can take over like a backup the neighboring one. So there's a very good system for that. The civil protection in Finnish, we have the problem that the civil protection, like rescue services, pelastustoimi, is covering everything. Like I said, it also covers the civil defense, and very often when talking with the European colleagues, civil protection and civil defense, we do make some mistakes, and I think I would put here civil defense as a topic. But that is now telling about the system that monitors the society or collects information, and also the possible threats. And in the case there's a warning needed, warning population, there are systems for that. And one is like these sirens, that is from the Meteorological Institute of Finland. On their rooftop is that one, for example. But there are several. They can be in church towers or normal blocks of flats on the roof. I don't know how much they are used today anymore, because radio and other more modern methods are for warning. And then in Finland, we still build shelters, air raid shelters, and they cover the country, so that there are around the country places for more than 3 million people. So we are 5.5 million. And in cities and in special objects like cities with important activities or industry or so on, they do have bigger shelters for the population that is existing daytime there in that area or municipality. And according to the law, there are some guidelines who is expected to build, according to the law, a shelter for the people staying in those premises. I don't remember, it was changed a couple of years ago, but before it used to be 600 square meters and a certain number of people. Then the one who builds the premise or the building, they have to build a shelter as well. And that's why we have lots of shelters, and like ice hockey halls might be underground. Swimming halls are in bedrock. There are several of them, and they can be turned within, according to the agreement with the municipality who owns the premise. These premises can be turned into shelters and also to hospitals within 24 hours or 48 hours. But that is very covering system, and we still build them, unlike in most of European countries except Switzerland. And then the other tasks in civil defense and civil protection are the evacuation and rescue. And and in here we also have this cooperation with the private sector, and to fulfill the measures to safeguard the citizens. This pulls everything together, what we do, the Ministry of the Interior and the rescue services. Like in the beginning, I said the three main tasks. Here you see them in these bubbles, plus the National Emergency Supply Organization, run by the Ministry of Trade and Labor. And all this is possible only through cooperation, which is well coordinated. And that is mostly our role, to coordinate and to give space for the, like I said, the wide network. And this, in short, is an overview to our systems. I hope I could answer your expectations, Galia. You said you are doing something in Slovakia, something reorganizing or so. So this is one model that in our society works well. Of course, we are, let's say, making it better with every project and with every decision or legislation and so on. But this works quite well in a slow profile country like Finland is. Thank you.